Hello, Jean-Marc. Hello, Julie. How are you today, both of you?
Fine.
Thank you.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you for coming to our library lockdown lecture series. This is the fourth of our series, and probably the last for a bit. It's been very exciting. I'd like to thank Annette and Robert Bennell, who have helped us line up our speakers. Lovely to have you, Jean-Marc and Julie. I'll go back and explain why we had this date down in our agendas. We've had this date for months and months and months. The month of May in Europe is the Mois de l'Europe, celebration of the European community, the European Union, etc. And we had set up a talk with Jean-Marc and Julie months and months ago. Once the lockdown happened, we said, let's do it anyways. And so here we are. Lovely to have you. Thank you for being with us. I just want to remind you that we are recording this session. If you do not want to be seen or heard on the public space on our YouTube channel, you should turn off your video and audio. And I'd like to introduce Jean-Marc and Julie. This is the Maison de l'Europe, which is in Angers. They will tell you more about where it is and what you can do and what you can find. And Jean-Marc has been the president, the chair of the Maison de l'Europe from 2014. That's about 6 years. He has a degree in law. He has graduated from Sciences Po in Paris. And he was formerly, and now retired, he was formerly a consultant in business strategy. Thank you for being with us, Jean-Marc. Julie is the project manager at the Maison de l'Europe, and we have lots and lots of questions about what the Maison de l'Europe is doing. These are really important times to be making decisions, and so we're curious. Jean-Marc, you want to start and give us some of the content?
All right. Good morning, everyone. The Maison de l'Europe Angers et Maine-et-Loire was founded in 2005 as a reaction to the no vote in the referendum on the European Constitution. It is a non-profit organization. A few supporters of the European cause decided to found the MDE. They started to meet in a small flat owned by one of them. Our mission is to present and develop the European idea. In order to fulfill this mission, we teach young people about Europe and its culture, and we organize debates about different European institutions and politics. We are supported and financed by the Regional Council, the Council of Département, and by Angers Town Hall. Following a few years in David d'Angers High School, we moved to the Bourse du Travail, Place Saint-Bac, in offices provided without charge by the city of Angers. We are one of the 36 Maisons de l'Europe in France. They are united under the umbrella of the Fédération Française des Maisons de l'Europe, of which I'm the General Secretary. Since 2018, our MDE has been entitled Europe Direct Information Center. This allows us to receive yearly funds from the European Commission. For this, we have to distribute the information given to us by the said European Commission, backed up by a large amount of documents which all inhabitants of Maine-et-Loire can have access to. After Brexit, we have been told to destroy all documents mentioning the 28th member. We have about 60 private supporters and about 15 teaching organizations where we regularly debate with young people. We are in partnership with both Angers Catholic and state universities. We rely on about 12 voluntary supporters, and we have recruited a full-time project manager, Julie. Thanks to our title, we also employ a part-time project manager, Carole. Their main task is to inform young people about Europe. To that effect, they use teaching props, such as game, to make Europe easier to understand. We stress how important European citizenship is, particularly at time of European elections and municipal elections, when all European citizens are allowed to vote and to put their name forward. Within the national framework of the project Live Together in Europe, we try to reach young people who live in suburbs and rural areas and who find it difficult to get access to the information. To that effect, we have designed an information kit used by the local promoters. We are in contact with about 1,700 to 2,000 young people a year through our debates. Since our creation, we have been keen to spread European culture. We organize conferences and exhibitions to allow the people of Angers to get to know and understand different European countries. Each year, 2 member states preside over the European Council for 6 months. On the occasions, we try to introduce their countries during conferences and exhibitions. For example, last January, we hosted a counselor from the Finland embassy. He talked about this country to an audience of 80, stressing the problem of sustainability, which is at the heart of the Finnish presidency. At the moment, Croatia presides over the European Council. On May the 10th and 11th, during the Fête de l'Europe, we were supposed to welcome the ex-Prime Minister of Croatian Republic. She was going to assess the first 7 years of her country's membership. For this week, we were hoping to host an exhibition of photographs on the treasures of Zagreb architecture at the cultural center of Angers University called Le Quatre. Unfortunately, due to the present circumstances, her trip had to be cancelled. Added to which, Zagreb was hit by a serious earthquake in February, resulting in important damage in the old town. Our third interest is in European debate. Once a month, we organize a Café Européen, most often in the pub, where all people of Angers can meet. For an hour and a half, we provide and debate European news and politics. Our last Café Européen was about Brexit. It took place in the 10th of March at the Bourse du Travail, where you were welcome. In March 2019, in front of 200 people at the Agriculture School of Pouillet, we debated with experts and counselors the common agriculture policy and climate change. In March this year, the oldest pupils of the Saint-Benoît High School were due to debate energy transition in Europe. Hopefully, they will be able to present a proposal to a European deputy from our region, Catherine Chabot, in the autumn. During 2020, we shall organize several consultations and meetings with people from the Maine-et-Loire area so that our fellow citizens have their say on the future of European Union. The results will be forwarded to the European Commission and to the European Parliament. Our aim is to show our fellow citizens the impact of European financial funds on concrete developments in Maine-et-Loire area, for example, the tramway, the Congress Center, university research, the use of renewable energy in buildings, and help for the employment of the most fragile citizens. Julie is now going to present the main aims of the European politics for the period 2021 to 2027. The new Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen, introduced the Green Deal, which will have an impact on all European politics during that period. The objectives to reduce carbon footprint by 2050 are very ambitious. It is planned to collect 1,000 billion euro through private and public funds over the years in order to reach these objectives. Despite the health crisis, these objectives will be included in the plan for an economic revival prepared by the Commission for the end of May. Now, if you have some question about our Maison de l'Europe, Julie will be pleased to respond to you.
Thank you, Jean-Marc. That was a great overview. The Maison de l'Europe here in Angers, if you go there, you can see Jean-Marc and Julie. They have lots of different activities that are running. I have a question. So you had to dispose of, you threw away all of the documents because of the Brexit, because of the change of policy?
Yes, actually, it's not so much a change of policy, but it's just because it's not relevant anymore. The United Kingdom is partially not part of the European Union right now, so they told us not to distribute all this documentation. So because we have a lot of documentation overviewing all the member states, for now we didn't burn all the documents. We don't know what to do with it, so we have a partner in a Maison de l'Europe in Dunkerque that is going through a recycling contract for all these documents, so maybe we will go this route, but it's very sad for us to say goodbye to the United Kingdom, but also for an environmental point of view, it's not great.
The carbon footprint, not great.
And we thought about making stickers to put on all our documents, but because we have like thousands of leaflets, it's not the best way possible, I think, to do it.
Anybody have a question for Jean-Marc or Julie? They obviously both speak both languages, and you could ask your questions in either language, French or English. We don't go in beyond that. If anybody has a question, you can flag. I don't see Jacqueline on the screen, so you're the only one that needs to send us a chat.
There's a question.
There's a question. Who's that?
Jacques.
Yeah.
Who?
Jacques,
Denis.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so let me, okay, Jacques, so there we go.
I can do it. Here we go.
That's okay. Hold on. Hold
Oh,
on.
sorry.
Yeah, if we do it both, it will work. Okay, Jacques, you should be able to talk now.
Okay. Am I on?
Yes.
Okay. We guess at least Ursula, our dear Ursula, guesses that Europe is presently in deep shit.
Mhm.
She admitted that the answers that the European Union as such has given to the present pandemic are a total disaster. So that's a second disaster for Europe in a very short period of time. Disaster number one, Brexit. Disaster number two, COVID-19. Well, it sounds like the next step is Europe is dead. What is the Maison de l'Europe doing for that?
Alors, actually, I will talk about the COVID-19 management by the European Union after. But for us, at the local level, it's very worrying, actually. But I think that the crisis was not well managed by a lot of authorities. So we don't fear like the death of Europe at the local level, but it will be mainly, we will be able to have more element to think about when we will have the recovery plan. So it's worrying, but we don't, we still have hope actually at the Maison de l'Europe of Maine-et-Loire.
Okay, but the fact of the matter is that if there was one moment in time when Europe had to be present and exist, it was then. And if Europe has proven one thing, is it doesn't have any, it didn't have any single smart reaction to the situation.
Actually,
okay,
I
over
will
the last month, maybe Ursula has tried to do one or two things. The only one that has done something in Europe has been the Euro Bank, and that's it. Aside from that, there has been nothing at all.
I think it's more
national reactions and zero European reaction. It's a disgrace, especially after the Brexit. It's a total disgrace.
So I think it's partially true, but actually it's also a problem of communication, because there are a lot of measures that have been implemented by the European Union, but because it then goes through the member states, we don't see so much the impact of the European Union. And it's also the media's task to talk about what the European Union do, but we have a very big issue with communication with the European institutions. So I think that's why the general public thinks that the European Union doesn't do anything. But there are some strong action. It depends also on the willingness of the member states to work together. So if the European Union wants to implement strong actions, the member states have to agree to it and let it implement the things at the national level. But yeah, I agree with you. It's the European Union was not the strongest contender in this crisis.
And we see exactly the same thing occurring in the United States of America, where the federal reaction is absolute disaster. And the only one that do something are the local states and communities. But interstate reaction in the US is about the same as the international reaction in Europe. They don't have a federal reaction in the US. We don't have a European reaction in Europe.
My only comment here is that it might be a disgrace, but how can we give up hope if it seems that it's the only last thing, but let's, I think Julie had some other very concrete examples that she wanted to give to us. So we can go into our second part of the talk this morning. Does anybody else have a question before? Yeah, okay, Nicole.
It's not maybe a question, but I think that you can't compare the federal power in the United States and the European Union. Most of the decisions that are taken about Europe are by the different chief of state, and they talk about the European Union, but the Commission has doesn't take any decision. It just applies what the Conseil of the chiefs of state. I think this is what the European Union has to fight. The European Union should have means of communication of its own and say the truth, because the chiefs of state are always attacking or putting the responsibility of the European Union before their own, and that's a lie. It's typically a lie, and it has done a lot of harm to the European Union conception, idea, or and the way it is felt by the people of Europe. That's something that I maybe not resent against Europe, but I think it's an enormous flaw. You know, institutions such as Maison de la Culture, they do their best, but they should be supported by the European Union means of communication, and they seem to have none. They can't rely on the media. The media, they're a bit useless, you know, they just repeat the doxa and that's all. So I suppose that, you know, the European Union should brainstorm itself, and I mean the European Parliament and the European Commission, and they should deliver something about educating people and communicating directly with people and having a more important impact. That's what I think.
If I can add, it's truly a concern for the European institution to be able to communicate to the general public what they are doing, because as I said earlier, for example, local project like here in Angers, the center of the Congress Center, or Aquavita, the Aquavita swimming pool, it's European funded, but not in Angers, because they are doing a lot on Europe, but in some cities or in some countries, they don't really communicate on the European fundings, on the European impact at the local level. And so I think it's part of the issue of with the European Union that is not so close to the local level. But when you start to do research, and for us at Maison de l'Europe, it's like we know it, but we cannot do conferences and debates and youth activity every day with everybody. But the European Union is at the core of our daily lives, but we don't see it because often it goes through the member states and the local authorities.
I think we have Dorothy who wants to speak. Dorothy, hold on a second. We're bringing you on. Okay.
What name is she under?
Coldo.
She's on.
Okay.
Dorothy, it's Coldo, yeah. I just wanted to say that was the core of the reason for Brexit, was because of the fact that they envisaged the EU as a nanny telling everybody what to do. So, you know, where are they? They're either telling everybody what to do or they're not taking any part. You can't have it both ways. That's what the British wanted to do. They wanted all the good bits of it without being told what to do. They didn't want a federal state. So I think the EU has more or less played it right. They've missed everything, as everybody has. But it's the way forward now. We've got to go. There's no good looking back. You learn from your mistakes, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true, because it's the same in France. Everybody is very quick to judge the action, but we have to go through with this crisis. And I'm sure the European Union could have done much better, and it's the same for the member states and every countries in the world. But I think we have to wait for the crisis to come down, and then we would be able to learn from our mistakes and not do better for the next pandemic. I hope, crossing fingers. But yeah, it's the European Union is as strong as its members. So if the members are not solid, are not willing to work together, the European Union will not be able to impose everything.
No.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Dorothy, I turned you off. Julie, you want to go into our second part?
So I'm going to give you an overview of the COVID-19 and the management of the crisis. So it was an unprecedented health crisis, and the EU is trying to deploy the various means at its disposal. However, as I said earlier, it's useful to keep in mind that its ability to act depends on the member states and their willingness to work together. So the European Union was not very equipped to take over the management of the pandemic response from the outset, because health is not a strong competence of the EU. The European Union has the supporting competence regarding health in the member states, which means it can coordinate and support the member states' health measures. But because it's only a supporting competence, the EU can intervene if its actions are more effective than those carried at the national level. So I will give you some measures like economic measures, progress regarding research, and also the measures regarding citizens during this crisis. So as far as economic measures are concerned, some exceptional financial decisions were adopted at the EU level to support the member states. So the most famous measure is the European Central Bank that has decided to inject 870 billion euros into the economy to allow states, particularly the one the most in debt, to continue to borrow on the financial markets at low cost. There are also the structural fund that were quickly mobilized to buy medical equipment and also support small and medium-sized enterprise and support employment. So there were made available 37 million euros under the coronavirus investment initiatives. There is also the European Investment Bank that injected 200 billion euros in loans to finance SMEs, thanks to the 25 billion euros pan-European guarantee funds supported by the member state. So I'm sorry for all the numbers. I tried to limitate the numbers, but it's important, I think, to know the scope of the investment. There is also the European Financial Reserve that was set up during the Greek crisis, called the European Stability Mechanism, and it will, it is activated to support member states that can request it up to 2% of their GDP. So up to 240 billion euros may be lent to finance expenditure to support health and treatment systems in connection with the COVID-19 crisis. Finally, there is this new instrument called SURE that the Commission has adopted, and its aim is to help countries to finance measures to support the self-employed affected by the coronavirus. It's short-time working schemes, and it's already put in place by France and Germany, for example. And it will allow companies to recover their production capacity more quickly and to restart more easily when the crisis ends. So thanks to the EU AAA rating on the financial markets, this mechanism will make it possible to grant loans to member states of up to 100 million euros in total. So at the same time, the European Union has relaxed the budgetary rules to allow member states to adopt exceptional budgetary measures in response to the coronavirus crisis. For example, the Commission has decided to trigger for the very first time the general derogation clause of the Stability and Growth Pact, giving maximum flexibility to European budgetary rules, for example, the 3% deficit criteria. And this gives national governments the ability to inject as much money into the real economy as necessary. So it's a very important measure, and it's the first time they have done it. So it shows also the exceptional situation we are in. And also the rules on state aid have also been temporarily relaxed to allow states to support companies in difficulty. So this is more the economic measure. So it's not very sexy, as we say it, but it's important to know that it exists. And as far as research is concerned, so the Commission had already a European research program existing, the Horizon 2020 program, but because of this crisis, the Commission has mobilized up to 140 million euros to support the development of vaccines, new treatments, screening tests, and medical system to prevent the spread of the virus. There are 18 trans-European research projects with 140 research teams that have been selected to receive 48.5 million euros from this program, so Horizon 2020 program. France, for example, with the Institut Pasteur, is participating in 8 of these projects and is also a lead partner on the iMove COVID-19 project, a new multidisciplinary European network for research, prevention, and control of the coronavirus pandemic. And in addition, up to 45 million euros, also from the Horizon 2020 program, is being mobilized through the Innovative Medicines Initiative. It's a public-private partnership between the European Union and the pharmaceutical industry, which will promote and accelerate the development of treatments where existing medicines does not exist or are insufficient. So there is all this project in research, but the European Union decided also to create a new platform for data sharing, because it can accelerate a lot the research actually on this new virus. This data sharing platform is called EU COVID-19 Data Platform. It has been launched in April, and it aimed to rapidly collect and share comprehensive corona research data, such as DNA sequences, protein structure data from preclinical research or clinical trial, to advance research efforts. And there is also another measure which is quite interesting. It's the hackathon, the EU versus virus hackathon, and it aims to connect civil society, innovators, partners, and investors across Europe to develop innovative solutions for coronavirus-related challenges. So it's not strictly research, it's more like innovation. Over 30,000 people from across the EU submitted, and across the globe, submitted more than 2,000 projects, and it's a project from domains like health and life, business continuity, remote working and education, social and political cohesion, digital finance, and other domains like that. So the hackathon selected 117 finalists, and they will, at the end of May, take part in a matchathon, an event where the teams will meet and match with corporations and investors around the world to put their innovative solutions into production. So if you are interested, you can see all the winners of this hackathon online and discover their project. So these innovative solutions will be implemented all across Europe, actually. And regarding the equipment shortages that all countries of Europe have been subjected to, the Commission has set up a strategic reserve of medical equipment under the EU Civil Protection Mechanism. So it's not a new mechanism, but this aims to help the more affected EU countries, and the EU pays for 90% of the cost of the reserve. So the Emergency Response Coordination Center will manage the distribution of the equipment to ensure that it goes where it's most needed. The open budget has mobilized 37 billion to buy masks and respirators, but also to support SMEs and employment in the sectors more affected. For flow of trades of goods in the international market, the EU has asked the member states to set up reserved lanes or green corridor at internal borders for the movement of goods. So it has also introduced greater flexibility in the rules on driving and rest period for lorry driver to ensure a quick distribution of very needed equipment. There are also several other measures that have been put into place, like bulk purchase of medical equipment and production of equipment meeting medical standards throughout Europe, and also the temporary exemption of custom duties for imports of medical devices and protective equipment from countries outside of the EU. There have been also shipment of protective masks came from the strategic RESC-EU distribution center. So it's the RESC-EU is the European program of natural disaster management, and it's completely financed by the EU budget. So it will also, the shipment will also come from this program. Yeah, actually, there is the emergency support instrument that provide also 10 million masks over the, that will provide 10 million masks over the coming weeks to ease the impact of the pandemic in member states. There is also the issue with the repatriation of European citizens. So since the beginning of the outbreak, it's been a very talked about issue in France actually, but throughout Europe. And over 58,000 stranded EU citizens have been brought home so far on board of repatriation flights facilitated and co-financed by the EU civil protection mechanism. So many more intra-European flights are chartered directly by the member states, but the EU is supporting member states with their consular assistance to EU citizens through its network of local consular correspondents. There is a consular toolkit with practical information to EU citizens in third countries. And there is also an EU collaboration on repatriating EU citizens and advising them on how to handle travel restriction throughout the world. So when the option of repatriating EU citizens via commercial flights is no longer possible, the EU can step in and assess difficult situation demanding special flights or special shipments, and the EU member states can activate the EU civil protection mechanism to coordinate and co-finance the special transport assets mobilized for repatriation. So actually, there are lots of tiny things done by the European Union, but we don't hear a lot about it in the media. There is also a big pledging marathon, so it's called the Coronavirus Global Response, and the European Union is joining forces with global partners like France, Germany, United Kingdom, Norway, or for example Saudi Arabia, as well as additional partners from across the globe. And is to kickstart a worldwide pledging effort to develop treatments, vaccines, and diagnostics that will after be universally available and affordable. And on the 4th of May, the President Ursula von der Leyen hosted this global online pledging event. So the initial goal was to reach 7.5 billion euros worth of pledges at the end of May. And since the 4th of May, 7.4 billion euros has been raised. So it's a win for this initiative. And to talk about, to come back about on the citizens' protection and here more specifically consumer protection, the EU is tackling rogue scams. For example, there are rogue traders that are advertising and selling products such as protective masks, caps, and sanitizers to consumers, and they which allegedly prevent or cure the coronavirus. And the European European Union launched a number of screenings of online platforms and advertisement to ensure that the consumer in the EU are not being subjected to misleading content and scammed. So online platforms, for example, Amazon, Microsoft, eBay, Facebook, Google, or Yahoo, have responded positively and demonstrated a strong commitment to take down misleading ads and illegal advertising to protect consumers, because it's one of the big competence of the EU to protect consumers throughout Europe. There is also the issue of misinformation and disinformation on the COVID-19 with false claims like it does not help to wash your hands, or the coronavirus is only a danger to the elderly, which may endanger lives. And the EU used several new tools, as well as old tools, to protect the well-being of citizens. So, for example, the EU has launched a dedicated coronavirus response website with real-time information on the virus and the EU response. The Strategic Communication Task Force is monitoring and exposing attempts by foreign state actors to spread disinformation about the coronavirus, and the fact-checking and academic communities supported by the EU have stepped up their effort, but we can also see it in France where there are a lot of fact-checking and fighting disinformation. For example, there is the platform We Verify that is widely used by tens of thousands of journalists worldwide. The EU is also working with a social media platform, Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, for example. So that's a big overview of on what the European Union does, but I didn't talk about all the initiatives from the member state because it would take a day. So if you want, I will just give you some information regarding the new political guidelines of the EU, because actually the crisis arrives just at the beginning of a new European agenda for 2021-2027, with just as a reminder, the election of the European Parliament and the establishment of the new Commission last year. And I wanted to present to you the political guidelines of the new Commission, and especially the Green Deal, because the crisis, the European institutions have not forgotten their environmental engagement because of the crisis. So the political guidelines are entitled A Union That Strives for More, so a more ambitious European Union, and there are 6 headline ambitions. So an economy that works for people, which means more social fairness and prosperity, a Europe fit for the digital age, meaning the EU as a leader in new technology, and empowerment for people through education and skills, protecting our European way of life, so meaning protecting the rule of law, proposing a new pact on migration and asylum, and strengthening the customs unions. A stronger Europe in the world, meaning strengthening the EU's role as a global leader, a more ambitious international strategy, and going towards a European Defence Union. A new push for European democracy, so giving European citizens a stronger role in decision making, for example, with the Conference on the Future of Europe initiative, strengthening the partnership between the European Commission and the European Parliament, and improving transparency throughout the legislative process, and the European Green Deal. So the European Green Deal, as we are at the very beginning of the new Commission and the new Parliament mandate, it's the Green Deal is mainly objectives and not yet concrete actions. But the European Green Deal is the roadmap to make the EU's economy sustainable. So the EU wants to turn climate and environmental challenges into opportunities across all policy areas and making this transition just and inclusive for all. So it's a roadmap with action to boost the efficient use of resources by moving to a clean circular economy and restore biodiversity and cut pollution. The objective of the EU is clear, it's climate neutrality in 2050. To do this, the Commission proposed a European climate law, turning the political commitment into a legal obligation and a trigger for investment. And reaching this target will require action by all sectors of our economy, including investing in environmentally friendly technologies, supporting industry to innovate, rolling out cleaner, cheaper and healthier forms of private and public transport, decarbonizing the energy sector, and making sure buildings are more energy efficient, and working with international partners to improve global environmental standards. So the EU will also provide financial support and technical assistance to help people, businesses and regions that are most affected by the move towards the green economy. This is called the Just Transition Mechanism and will help mobilize at least 100 billion euros over the period 2021-2027 in the most affected region. So the fear with the COVID-19 crisis was that the EU forgot the Green Deal altogether in the recovery plan. However, the President of the European Commission ensured that the environmental concern would not be forgotten. In a speech from the end of April, she says, with the billion euros that will be invested to restart economy, we should avoid falling back in all polluting habits. Instead, the EU should bounce back better, and we can make our planet better by investing in renewable energy, clean mobility, energy efficient house, for example. And this is the essence of the European Green Deal. It's an agenda to transform our economy, to make our economy more competitive and improve our quality of life. And it will be the motor for the recovery. She says we can turn the coronavirus crisis into an opportunity to rebuild our economies differently and make our society and planet healthier and more resilient also for our children. With the green recovery, we will come out of this crisis healthier and stronger. So it's not me saying that, it's Ursula von der Leyen that I'm quoting. So I think we can hope that this crisis, from this crisis, a new European Union will arise stronger and greener. But for now, it's it seems too soon to know and to predict. We will discover, as I said earlier, at the end of May, the updated EU budget proposal, which is crucial to kickstart all of these new measures. And this EU budget proposal will also include the COVID-19 recovery plan. So I'm looking forward to the end of May to know what will be proposed. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm sorry, I thought it would be quicker, but I cannot speak so fast. So feel free to ask any question. I will try to answer it, and Jean-Marc, but we don't have still all the answers.
Thank you, Julie. That's a lot of information and very, very well presented. Congratulations. It's wonderful. Thank you for all that work. Anybody have a question for Julie?
Je voudrais juste ajouter quelque chose. Compte tenu de la richesse des informations que Julie vient de nous donner.
Julie, are you going to translate for us? Afterwards?
Jean-Marc, est-ce que tu peux redire? Je n'étais pas en mode traduction.
Je disais que compte tenu de la richesse des informations que vient de nous donner Julie, je propose qu'elle envoie son texte à la bibliothèque anglophone et elle pourra vous le transmettre parce que vous avez vu que même si on n'en parle pas, l'Europe a fait énormément de choses durant cette crise sanitaire, a pris des décisions extrêmement importantes qui ont permis aux États membres de soutenir leur économie, qui ont évité une grave crise financière. Et donc, une fois de plus, on a tendance à dire que l'Europe ne fait rien, mais quand vous aurez l'occasion de relire tout ce que Julie vous a indiqué, vous verrez que dans l'ombre, on peut le dire, l'Europe a fait beaucoup et a facilité la prise de mesures nationales.
Julie, translation?
Yes, yes. So I will send my text to Phoebe so she can send you all the information. So as you can see, there is a lot of things done by the EU, but more in the shadow. So if you want, to read the text and reflect on it, it's okay, because I gave a lot of numbers, lot of mechanism, instrument, etc. And even when I was doing research, I didn't know how to put it in an organized fashion so it can be palatable for you. So I hope it was
What I will do is once we have the recording up on YouTube, I'll put onto our website the recording, and I will also link to the document. I won't be sending this to you. You'll have to come to our website to find it. And it's not going to happen today.
No, I will not send you my text today.
Any other questions? We're coming down. We're almost at 11 o'clock. So
I have a question, a very practical question. This is Sandrine. Sorry, you can't see me, but I'm still talking. It may have been mentioned, but just in case, where can we find the Maison de l'Europe and what are the opening hours?
Okay, so the House of Europe is at the first level of the Bourse du Travail, which is located on the 14th of Place Saint-Bac, which is in the city center of Angers. And right now we are, everybody is working from home. As you can see, it's not the office. So for now we are not at our office, but we will probably open in June, and all the information on our opening hours are on our website and on our social media, Twitter and Facebook. But we have a phone number and an email address up and running. So if you have any question, if you want to be in our mailing list for the conferences or events, but right now we are online, so it's not the same, but feel free to call us or to send us an email.
Thank you very much.
Jacqueline, did you have a question?
Let me turn our mic on. Jacqueline, you're on. No, you're not. Let me. Oh, that's strange.
Hold on, I can do it. It's not working.
Yeah. I'm having the same problems. Jacqueline, you have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Is it
There you
better
are.
now?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to regret that this big gap there is between all Europe seems to be doing and is doing from what Julie told us. We can only regret the gap there is in the communication and the image that is felt by most of people, the image which is not as positive as it should be. That's just what I wanted to say. It's a pity because, of course, Europe does a lot. And I think people are not aware of that. And it's communication should be better. That's really the negative point, because there's a lot of consequences, negative consequences carried through this fact. Do you agree, Julie, that the communication really should, I don't know what should be done, but
yeah, I agree totally.
it's terrible that this gap there is between the facts and the reality felt, resented by European people.
Yeah. We noticed it most in our youth activities, because when we work with young people, we can inform them about what European does, and discuss with them how is the European Union work and what it does. And actually, they are a blank canvas. But when we are doing events, we notice that the people that are interested by the European themes can be militant, can be very pro-Europe or against, but there is the general public have not really a great interest in Europe, and I think it's because the action of Europe, of the European institution, are not very interesting for the media, and for us at the local level. We can work with small groups, but it's often either young people that are interested and will become maybe pro-European citizen, but it's not our aim. We just want to inform. But for the general public, the adults and the elderly, it's not the same. It's if they want to get informed about Europe, they research the information, and either they are comforted in their opinion, or they can just but there is a gap, actually.
But Julie, this is not part of your job to I mean, exactly what is your function here in the Maison de l'Europe?
So we are organizing youth activities with a class like college, lycée, but even primary schools. And we are also organizing events such as conferences, debates, and also art exhibits. So we are a part of our mission is to inform about Europe.
So this is good, yes.
Yeah. So we are trying to do that, but our scope is not very
wide.
Yeah, we are a small organization. We have only 2 employees.
Yes, I understand. Yes.
So it's hard to be everywhere and to organize very big events, because the European themes is not a very sexy thing, very interesting themes from the get-go, I would say.
Je peux ajouter quelque chose?
Yes, 30 secondes, Jean-Marc, il faut qu'on termine. Et je reviens parce qu'il y a quelqu'un à la porte.
Juste pour vous dire que les Maisons de l'Europe, le mouvement européen, enfin toutes les associations et les organisations qui s'intéressent à l'Europe ont fait une opération auprès des pouvoirs publics à l'occasion de la future loi sur l'audiovisuel pour réclamer une part plus importante dans les médias publics nationaux audiovisuels consacrés à l'Europe. Et à l'appui de cette démarche, un sondage qui montre que nos concitoyens sont mal informés, mais qui souhaitent avoir plus d'informations
Ah
sur
ben
l'Europe.
ça c'est... Ok.
Donc, espérons que ça aboutira.
Just to translate, so the big non-profit organization about the European themes have work with government. Non, je veux pas du tout.
Si.
And I'm not a translating major, so sorry. And they did a survey throughout France about media and European information. And actually, the result was that the media wasn't, the citizens felt that the media was not talking enough about Europe, and that the citizens were willing to learn more. So it's very positive, but we still have a lot of work ahead of us.
Thank you, Jean-Marc and Julie. We can give them a round of applause.
Thank you.
Question, Mary-France, did you have a question you wanted or not?
Wave goodbye. No.
Okay, I'll mute you again. So thank you everybody for being with us today once again. Thank you so much. I do have a couple of quick announcements. Hold on a second, stay on the screen. Like a sex machine, is that what it is? Sorry guys. I'd like to thank Sandrine. Thank you, Sandrine. She's been working on turning mics off, videos off, things like that. We like to remind you the library is open to the public for returning books and borrowing books. You can look at our website for very specific hours and specific rules to do that. Tomorrow we have our press review, which is going to be running tomorrow afternoon on Saturday. The link, this is obviously running on Zoom, and the link is on our website if you'd like to join the press review. This is our wonderful volunteer, whose name is Isma, who's going to be running the press review. And next Friday, we have the Jeudi d'Ascension. The 21st is a national holiday. And I'm not going to be available next Friday. I'm going to be biking my 100 kilometers radius around. But Sandrine generously offered to run the coffee house. So it will be, I haven't posted on the website, but we will run the coffee house next week starting at 10 o'clock. And this will just be a coffee house. There's no speaker. Okay? So in a different kind of format. And I think that's it. So let me...
Bye-bye.
Hold on a second.